If Western media were doing its job properly, the anti-China naysayers would be asking, what the heck is going on in China? Because the Western media don't do their job, those ill-informed and unfortunately ignorant masses are not asking the obvious question. We can't ask what we don't know, can we? However, the answer to the unasked question is this: China is doing what it has constantly done. It's welcoming the US and other nations into China to work out how to mutually do business beneficially. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another of my takes on China, and I don't often say this, but I am certain this is one of the most important videos I'll make this year. Why do I say that? Because what I've seen and researched in the last few days is going to blow the minds of people who read media in the West, but pay no attention to the realities of the situation in China. If you think China is on the verge of collapse, perhaps this video is the one you must watch, and you should go back to your ill-informing sources and you must ask them, why are you getting it so wrong about China? Because I'm just about to prove to you that they are getting it wrong, and they're doing so on an industrial scale, probably deliberately. If you think China is going to collapse, please explain these 4 events to me. Why would they matter to US and European businesses? 1. Tim Cook spending time in China and opening a massive new flagship store. This wasn't his first trip here. It's his 3rd in 12 months. Of course, Apple phone sales have declined. That's hardly a surprise. Whenever a Chinese person picks up a Western media outlet of any sort, they do pick it up. They see the US is restricting China. They see that the US thinks China is interfering in their politics. They say China is expanding aggressively and China is threatening the world order. They might also see reports that China is persecuting other Chinese people. And when they do, 100% of them think to themselves, what the heck is going on out there? We're not doing anything of the sort. This is happening in China. But in the US, Congress sends demanding letters to Tim Cook, demanding that Apple leaves China. Of course, we're not supposed to know about that letter, but in a typical US fashion, politics by media, one of the signatories, Ken Buck, posted it on Twitter, probably just to prove how big he was. It's no surprise to anyone, and it obviously isn't China's fault, that Apple sales are in decline. If you're in China and you saw that, would you buy something that the US government wants the corporation to pull the rug out from under you? Of course not. I am in China. I will never buy an Apple product. I just don't know if they'll be here next month or banned by Congress. It's little wonder Huawei, Vivo, and Xiaomi all started to grow in sales. No, Tim Cook is desperately trying to repair the relationship his country is damaging with what he knows is the largest and most profitable market for Apple. Number 2, despite massive US restrictions, Nvidia has just signed a huge deal to supply BYD with further automation in both autonomous driving and robotic factory chips. Once again, this is against the path of US restriction, but it doesn't violate any laws because it's a slightly lower level chip that's being used. Now let's see if the USA tries to stop this one. If they do, it's not because of a national security risk, it's 100% fear of China's growth. Now why would they fear China's growth? This is the country on the verge of collapse, remember? Why also would BYD expand production facilities and build more factories in Thailand, Indonesia, and Mexico if there was a danger of collapsing? Obviously, Nvidia, BYD, and the hundreds of thousands of people buying BYD cars around the world on a monthly basis don't have the same concerns. 3. The president of Holland came to China for a meeting with Xi Jinping. Holland is a small country. It doesn't have a huge export basis, but it does have one product that China dearly wants, and the US would love to stop them from getting it: ASML equipment to manufacture semiconductors. In May last year, 2023, the Deputy Prime Minister of Holland was here in China. And this month, the Prime Minister himself was here. He got to meet the Premier, Li Qiang, and he met with Xi too. China wants to do business with ASML, and ASML wants to do business with China. Why? Because they know without Chinese sales, they have a huge gap in their revenue stream. There's only one reason for that gap to appear, and that's the US trying to cause China to stall through their restrictions. The Dutch know China isn't on the verge of collapse. They've read it in US media. They might even read it in their own media. But these people don't travel halfway around the world to a collapsing country to look for opportunities. They might let the collapsing country come to them. And number 4, today Xi Jinping met with a delegation from the USA. The delegation included academics from Harvard. You can watch snippets of the meeting on Facebook. I've linked it. Evan Greenberg was there. He's the chairman of the National Committee on US-China Relations. Graham Allison, who is the founding dean of Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Governance, or School of Government, and the president of the US-China Council, Craig Allen, among others, about 15 of them. These people are not lightweights. They came for a purpose. They came because they know a divided humanity is not great for the future. But more importantly, they wouldn't have bothered to come if a single word that you and I have read in Western media were true. They came because they are the people who know. To summarize, I like to quote Xi Jinping in some of his words, as reported in Chinese media today or yesterday, from his meeting with Mark Rutte. The Dutch PM: the Chinese people also have the right to legitimate development, and no force can stop the pace of China's scientific and technological development and progress. End of quote. China not only has the right to legitimate development, but no one has the right to take that away from them. And unlike 150 years ago, China is strong enough to resist that kind of external pressure. And as they've proven time and time again, when it is applied, they just keep getting stronger. They're not in danger of collapse. So if you're not already aware, there's no pending Chinese collapse. There are no threats from China. The people who know, know. China isn't your enemy. The people telling you China is your enemy are the ones you very much need to watch out for. Thanks very much for watching my take on China again, and I will see you next time. Please don't forget, like, share, and check the subscribe button. Bye for now.